I'm Janet Raptis, and I am an energy healer and intuitive development teacher. And I am here to talk to you today about self-care for sensitive people. So I know that it can be really super hard sometimes to be sensitive. And what I really learned was that self-care was really important for me. I mean, I will say self-care is important for everybody, but self-care is extra important for sensitive people. And, you know, that goes for highly sensitive people and empaths. And the reason is that we are interacting with the world in a very intense way. You know, we feel things more intensely. We experience things like lights and sound and energy more intensely. And as a result of that, it's really necessary for us to be able to pull back and really have time for like deeper self-care and deeper reflection and actually like very sort of almost like cocooned time. And it doesn't actually have to be like in a cocoon, but to be able to pull back into that space where the world is quiet, where the world is simple, and where we can really just kind of like drop down and relax and feel a sense of deeper calm. So I wanted to share some of the tools that I use for self-care, but one thing that is so important, and I always say this, is that whatever you feel intuitively is the most important thing for you. Like that's the thing that is going to serve you the most. So my number one tip for self-care, thank you, Susan. My number one tip for self-care is to tune into what I need. And I ask myself this all the time, like, what do I need right now? Do I need to stop and breathe? Sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes it's like just stop, drop into my belly and breathe. Sometimes it means that I need to go for a walk and go to the park and lay down on the grass. Sometimes it means I need to take a bath. It can mean something different for me in any moment and any day. And so my number one self-care tip is, what do I need right now? And I just take that time and I tune in and I listen, and what I hear, to the best of my ability, I try to do. So I might hear like, you need to go spend the weekend in the mountains, and that might not be possible, but what is possible is to go on a hike or spend extra time outdoors or to go to the park and just lay on my back in the grass. So I try as much as I can to honor that. I also tune in to like, what is going on with my energy right now? How does my energy feel in this moment? And if I get kind of that touch point of like, okay, my energy feels heavy. I'm carrying stuff that I picked up from somewhere else, or I'm really tired, then that will give me a clue to what I need. And being tired brings me to something. Sensitive people really need more rest, I think, than average people. It's not as possible for us to push ourselves. And I've noticed this in myself, and I've noticed it with people that I work with, is that, you know, we have a tendency to want to drive ourselves, right? Push. And what I've noticed is that I rarely ever get ahead when I do that. What actually works best for me is, I know, Scott, mountains. What works best for me is to make sure that I'm getting enough rest, to make sure that I am taking pauses in my day. So like for me, I might work for 2 hours and then find myself staring out the window. And I used to beat myself up for that. And what I've really realized is that those moments where I'm just kind of like stopping and dropping and integrating and daydreaming or whatever, as long as there's not too many of them, that those are actually very constructive moments for me, because it allows me to reset. Also, I find that having little rituals is super important for me. So, for example, I've just restarted a ritual that I had for a long time and that I had gotten out of the habit of doing. And I started this again a little while ago, and that is to get up before everyone else and do morning pages and meditate when the house is still super silent and quiet and it's just me. And that for me is super rejuvenating. It's super, it's a deep self-care for me. And what I've really recognized is that the silence in that time is really important for me and for my nervous system. I guess, you know, a lot of times we don't realize how loud the world is. And I think for sensitive people, there's this real need to have moments of, again, going back to that kind of that cocoon idea where where the world is quiet And this is especially true for those of us who live in cities. It's really important to get out of the city at times and to find a place where the energy is just calm and quiet, and there's a much more expansive nature. Melissa, I love that. It's a great ritual. It's such a good way to start the day. It's such a great way to be able to, we just had one of the boys walk in, sorry about that. It's a really great way for me to set myself up for a better day. Scott is reminding me of what we did today, because sometimes self-care is about doing what you need in the moment and taking the time to tune in and listen. So Scott's been having a lot of issues with his car lately, and we were like, what is going on? And we had been talking about it, and he was really doing some like diving into what it could be for him. And then he just asked me like, hey, do you think it would be okay if we did a ritual for my car? And so we took, 20 minutes out of our day this morning. And we, set some intentions, we did some clearing, Scott burned some limiting beliefs, and then we did like a little ritual around helping him to feel supported and helping his car to feel supported and bringing in some real loving energy for that. And it felt really good. It felt good for Scott, it felt good for me, and it felt good for his car too. And I think that, that's such an important thing here, is that he took the time, and Scott's really good at doing this. He took the time to stop and say like, what's going on and what do I need in this moment? And it completely shifted the energy for him, which was amazing. And it helped me too, because I did something that was, it felt good to me, and it helped me to feel like I was in service and supporting my partner. A couple other things that I think are really important for sensitive people is eating nourishing foods, taking time to eat, clearing the energy of our homes. And a lot of this is covered in other Facebook Lives that I've done, but really taking care of the energy in our space to make sure that it feels good to us, and clearing out things that don't feel good to us, tidying up. Another thing would be like essential oils and flower essences. Some people who really resonate with the environment, with the elemental realm, as I call it, which would be the earth realm, as a lot of us call it that. So there's different realms, and the elemental realm is one of them. And so, if you are one of those people, then using flower essences and essential oils will be really powerful for you as well. Rachel says, husband just asked if I've eaten anything yet today. I am so bad about that. It's so true, right? It's so easy to get caught up in what we're doing, and we forget to do the things that help us to take care of ourselves. And this is, eating is a classic one, right? And then we get to that point where we're like, and so it's so important. And I think, one thing I had to do, and I don't know if this would help you, Rachel, like I had to schedule lunch into my calendar, and it's actually on my calendar every day from 12 to 1. It says lunch, and I had to block off my calendar during that time, and I had to make sure that I had time to eat. And that was a very important piece of self-care for me. And speaking of my schedule, like another thing I had to do was, I had to cut back on my schedule a little bit. So I took I carved an hour off of my day on Wednesdays, and I carved a couple hours off my day on Mondays, so that I could do things that I needed to do to take care of, and to take care of myself. Rachel says dismissing those calendar reminders is pretty easy. It is. That's where the self-discipline comes in. So if anybody else has questions, I would love to hear them, and see if I can provide any insight or answers for you, or if you have any questions about your routine now, or how you can make it better, or something that you could be doing differently. I'm happy to answer that too. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to think of those. And then while you're doing that, I wanted to share, I shared that meditation was one of my go-tos for self-care, and also energy healing. I do a lot of self-healing. And so one of the things that I've come up with as a part of my self-care routine, and that I've been sharing with clients for the last several years, is a weekly healing meditation. And it's a great way to practice self-care. And I know that a lot of the people who do it reach out to me and say, like, my Sundays have become sacred because of this. This is such a great way for me to end one week and start another. It feels like my energy's cleared. It helps me as an empath. Like, a lot of really positive comments about how it is supporting my clients to take care of their energy field. And so today is Self-Love Day, by the way. Happy Self-Love Day. And so since I was doing this, I thought it would be really a great opportunity to share that with any of you who are interested in doing it. And I'm offering it as a free gift. And that can be found on my website at janetraftis.com/healing-meditation. And it can be shared with other people too. So if you know anyone who's going through a hard time, or who is really sensitive, or who feels overwhelmed, anyone who's going through a tough transition, loss, divorce, where they might need a little extra energetic support, it's a great healing meditation. You can download it, own it, have it for as long as you want, and listen to it as much as you want. And that's really one of my favorite self-care things that I do for myself and that I share with others. So let's see. Does anyone else have, oh, thank you, Rachel, for putting that up there. Does anyone else have any questions? Self-care is so important, and I think my wish for all of you would be to feel like you are truly loving and nourishing yourselves, because that was one of the biggest shifts in my life. When I really started setting aside the time to do that, it has allowed me to really engage much more deeply in my life and my practice and my family. Anything in particular to keep in mind when starting your day? So, Shana, that's a great question. And I think the most important, thank you, Tracy. I think one of the most important things for me is to have that time at the beginning of my day before the day like jumps into full force, right? So one of the things that I've been practicing in my morning routine with this is that I don't get on my phone. And even at the times in my life when I haven't been consistent in my morning meditation practice, I have had periods where I've like not touched my phone like for the first like hour or so. And I think that that is such an amazing way to start your day. So like I said about doing the morning pages and my meditation first thing, that's my first 45 minutes to an hour of the day. And it's totally quiet. And that for me is the best way to start the day. And I know I say that that's for me, everybody's different, but I do know from working with a lot of people that it's very helpful for those who do have a similar routine. Thanks, Stanton. I love Celestite. You guys are all so sweet. Thank you. I'm feeling the love today for Self-Love Day. And let's see, does anyone else have a question? Kiss and hug your partner. I will. Thank you. I want to thank my partner too for supporting me in these Facebook Lives, because he is the one that always gets me set up here for success and make sure that he's on, and that means the world to me. Thank you, Scott. All right. And if no one has anything else, then I will say goodbye for now. Next week I won't be on at the same time, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. I will be supporting my son and his robotics team, and it is his birthday as well, so I'll be volunteering and spending some time with my son for his 15th birthday. So thank you all so much. Happy Self-Love Day. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who have a partner and celebrate with somebody else. For all of you, I love you all, and I hope you love yourselves up over the next couple days and take care of yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye.